Hey, James, you're on the Run and Fez show.
What?
Yeah, go ahead, buddy. You're on the air.
Hey, Ichiban and the spy report. Sorry.
Ichiban. Into a spy report.
Spy report.
Ichiban, Charlie Sheen is demanding a meeting with President Obama for him to admit the American government's absolute hand in the 9/11 attack.
All right, well, let's look at Obama's schedule and see if we can't fit him in there.
Mr. President, could you see the guy from 2.5 Men? He wants 20 minutes.
What? Hold on, Fez. You could just as easily say Wall Street and Platoon.
Yeah.
And Hot Shots.
And who doesn't want to meet the guy from Wall Street and Platoon?
I do.
No, wait, not Oliver Stone. Charlie Sheen.
Or that redheaded imbecile.
I love that guy because he's got nicks and chicks.
He's got energy, too, that guy.
What are you doing? You saving up to be Jewish? Huh?
Huh, Bunny? Bunny.
That was my favorite fucking line. What are you doing, Lieutenant? Saving up to be Jewish? And then you also had a spy report.
Spy report is Nick Coletti from Long Island is the man. Nick Coletti from Long Island is the man.
Okay, there you go. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I didn't know that. It is a spy report.
Yeah, Nick Coletti from Long Island. He's the man. He is the man. Fez, Charlie Sheen. Now, did he demand to see it, or did he say he'd like to?
From what I saw, he's demanding.
Where did you see this?
Fox News. I saw this.
Did it show him saying it?
No, it was just written out. And what he's
that doesn't exactly mean you saw it.
What he's done as a way of getting in there, he's done a 20-minute video of him acting like he's talking to the president. And he's basically breaking the president down, getting him to admit that this whole thing was orchestrated by the Bush-Cheney administration and that the government did have a hand on this, and it was just to get into a war with Iraq.
Have we YouTubed it? Is it already up?
I didn't see where there was a link for the video.
No, you didn't see the video yet.
I haven't seen the video at all. I just saw the article.
All right, if anybody finds that, send it to us. runandfez@AOL.com.
This sounds like when I was a little kid, I'd have these daydreams where it's like I'm called to the White House because I'm the only one that can help with a problem.
I want you to be honest now. Were you a little kid when you had that daydream?
I've had it all through my life,
Yeah,
Ron.
thank you.
It started then.
Thank you, because that's not a child's dream. All right, here it is.
No. This is just some guy, I think, talking about it. Because I'm not sure if there is video of it. This is just some redneck talking.
Well, I like this guy because he looks like he's a college football coach and also a NASCAR driver. There are still a lot of people out there who believe conspiracy theory, and tomorrow, of course, the anniversary of 9/11. Well, actually, tomorrow is 9/11, but the anniversary of the attacks. But there are still tons of people who believe that we were attacked by the USA.
Yeah.
And Charlie Sheen of, I think his show is called Two Men and a Little Lady. I have no idea what it's called. I haven't seen it. I know he wears cigar shirts and it makes me like him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's bring back the Tommy Bahama. I think it's still happening for me.
He's way too thin these days.
But what are you going to do? You know, he lives in Hollywood. You can't even get food there. If you get food, everyone else starts to cry.
At this point, I think they have to drop the half-man part. That kid is huge.
I haven't seen it. I
It's
don't
like
know anything about
3.5
it.
men now.
I've seen the commercials where they put on their kind of joke in the night, and it's painful.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Charlie Sheen is the highest paid person on television now.
Yes. Yeah.
He's paid, I think, $600 a week.
I mean, isn't the show exactly like Odd Couple meets Three Men and a Baby?
It's exactly like that. Can you believe it? Hollywood rips off things. Come
Yeah.
on, Dave, wake up. Here is Nick. Nick in L.A. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, guys. Listen, this thing with Charlie Sheen is on a website that's called Infowars.com, like informationwars.com.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is Charlie Sheen came up with 20 questions that need to be answered about this 9/11 disaster or whatever. I don't personally agree with the conspiracy theorists, but I do want to tell you that the questions are pretty, some of them need to be answered.
But here's the interesting thing. If you are serious, right, why get it into 20 questions? Why isn't 17 or 21? Why treat it like a fucking Entertainment Weekly interview.
It's 20 questions, and the person you're looking for is President Bush by the end of it.
We got InfoWars here?
Yeah, it's 20 minutes with the president.
Yeah, it's a minute of fucking question.
Right.
Is there any video we can see? Or, yeah, there it is at the top.
Appreciate you doing this interview.
Likewise, Alex. Thank you.
Why, after 3 years of silence concerning 9/11, are you now speaking up? And why have you written this public letter that you've now published?
All right, let's stop it for a second. The guy who's interviewing him, is he in hiding? Is that a fake voice?
Alex Jones, I know all about this dude. He's a humongous conspiracy theorist, and he has like his own cable
Why does he
access
sound
shows.
like this?
He just has a very raspy, almost Limbaugh
It sounds
voice.
like fucking Max Headroom is interviewing Sheen. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
I wrote this letter for two reasons. Firstly, I wanted to create a public document specifically rooted in fact. If anybody dares question that, I would encourage those people to scrutinize it, to research it. The truth is unchanging, Alex, as we both know. The only aspect of this piece that had to be manufactured were the president's words. Everything else will withstand the critical assault I'm more than prepared to endure.
All right, hold on. Now, does he have somebody playing the president?
That I don't know.
This is the best thing I've ever heard in my life already. And I'll just say this. Wow thing!
Why does he think it's so funny, though? He can't quit laughing talking about 9/11.
He's high.
No, he's not.
It's Charlie.
This is our first new president since 9/11, and consequently his first 9/11 anniversary in office. Enough stonewalling, enough media manipulation, enough media mantra speak. The families deserve better, Alex. America deserves better. I mean, come on. Come on, people. The 9/11 Commission report is a blatant work of manipulation, secrecy, and fiction. Come on, the time is now. Demand the truth. I personally cannot stand idly by any longer and pretend like a new investigation is just going to fall out of the heavens right into our Congress. We have to take action. We have to stand as one. We must insist that our new president deliver on his promises. And that's why, Alex, that's why I've gone right to the top with this. That's why I'm asking the president to read my letter, to answer my questions in person, and to call for a real and open investigation, finally.
What's Obama waiting for? It's time for you to sit down. You've been in for 8 months. You got to sit down with Charlie Sheen. And if not Charlie Sheen, I'd like to see you talk to Emilio Estevez. How about 7 questions with Emilio Estevez?
Then it would be like a Men at Work reunion or Young Guns, whatever.
I prefer Men at Work.
So do I, actually.
It's actually way better. I was never a Young Guns guy.
I like Young Guns, but Men at Work I thought was very, very underratedly funny.
In your letter to the president, you make the point that several members of the 9/11 Commission, including the chairman, have said that the Pentagon lied to them, that there were a lot of distortions involved. And the chief counsel, Mr. Farmer, is now writing a tell-all book and has been interviewed by the Washington Post. He's out there saying that they met secretly with the Pentagon and agreed to, quote, lie about almost everything in the commission. So anybody that criticizes you, I just want to say right here and right now, this is insanity. You've read the report. We've gone over all the documents. The people on the commission are saying it's a fraud. So this isn't about Charlie Sheen or Alex Jones. It's about Barack Obama because he's the new president. He's in there. George Bush is gone. That was like talking to a brick wall. And we've got to have a real investigation. We haven't had a real investigation yet. We've got all these blacked out pages in the first report, 900 pages, a bunch of pages in the 9/11 Commission report are blacked out. I mean, I know I'm ranting here, but what do you say to that? Because it's in your letter. I mean, you're only pointing out that the commission itself says it's a fraud.
Well, I had faith that as time went on, that more would be revealed. Month after month, year after year, more has continually been revealed. And as you have stated, these are the questions, these are the facts, these are the issues that found their way into my letter because, as I said, not as a challenge, just to not be misrepresented, just to not be to be demonized for asking questions when in fact all we're doing is what we have been taught is our God-given right as Americans to question something that we know to be, let's just say...
let's just do this. First question, is there going to be a Major League 3?
Please. But they better get Corbin Burnson back.
Wait, no, they did do 3, right?
Was that straight to video?
I think Corbin, coached in that.
God, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I think it was. Here's Adam. Adam in Boston.
Hey, guys. Good morning. How are you? Yeah, I mean, the main problem I have with these conspiracy theories is that the conspiracies are to them what, statistics are to a sports fan. And, I can't speak to the World Trade Center, but I was at the Pentagon on 9/11, and you hear people say the same crap over and over again. Nobody saw a plane. Hundreds of people did. It was rush hour traffic. There was no plane debris. It was the first thing I found when I got out of my car. What happened? And no matter what you say to these people, and the reason why they need 20 questions is that when you answer them definitively, they come up with another one. And it comes down to the fact that they just like conspiracies.
Yeah, when we were on in D.C., there was a lot of conspiracy theorists at the time, and then a lot of people who either were on that highway or in the Pentagon. Of course, thousands and thousands and thousands of people worked in that building. And I haven't heard it from anybody who was in that building who was a conspiracy theorist or anybody who was out on the road.
On the road itself, and when you look at the road itself, the light towers 100 feet apart were cut down. The first thing I found when I got out of my car was a green gas canister. I rolled it over. It said cabin air on it. There was the outside of the windows. There was a honeycomb parts of airplanes, and that was probably 250 yards away from the impact site. I've never seen a plane crash before. I kept telling myself it was a helicopter crash because it was right at the helipad, but there was airplane debris all over the place. And it's no matter what you tell these people, it just comes back to, well, Bush lies. Well, it's unbelievable, and I don't know why they get as much attention as they do. They're not interested in the truth. They're interested in perpetuating their hobby, which is conspiracy theories. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Great show.
Take care, my friend. Here's Steve. Steve in Detroit. Steve, how are you, pal?
Yo, what's going on, fellas?
Yeah.
Check this out. My man is one of the smartest guys in this world. I've been trying to educate people how fucking government screwed us for the longest. And you know what? People don't want to hear it. They turn the other cheek. But let me tell you something. How did first of all, it wasn't even hot enough to bring that building down. No building has ever come down off of fire. Second of all, where are these security tapes at? How come after something hit the Pentagon did they go and snatch every damn tape within range of seeing that?
Steve, what happened? Because it was a crime scene. Steve, what happened to the towers?
Well, the towers went down, but it wasn't even hot enough to melt a steel building.
How did they go down?
What happened to the other World Trade Center when they said let's pull it? They already had the demolitions in there. How can the building just go and it was only on fire?
Here's the thing that gets to me, Steve, and it's not about whether the federal government would be evil or not, right? But how many firefighters, EMTs, policemen were lost on 9/11? Do you think that the New York fucking fire department would be part of a federal cover-up when they lost people in that? This is the thing that no matter what happened, this is a gigantic event covered by local, state, federal people. And I don't see any of them being fucking whistleblowers. And if you were to ask me, could the federal government do something evil, I would probably lean with you. But when you're asking me whether the local fire departments, knowing that fucking friends of theirs died, would then still be part of the conspiracy, it's just too massive. It's too massive of what this cover-up would have to be. And Clinton couldn't get away with a fucking blowjob from a fat girl. Everybody wanted to talk. He couldn't cover up that a fucking woman that wanted to be with him was. He still couldn't keep that off. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. Here's Mike in Wisconsin. Mike.
Hey, guys. I was just going to say, if Obama knew that it was a conspiracy, wouldn't he want to come out with that and get all this shit off of him right now?
I will agree with that 100%. It would be in Obama's best interest if he had anything like this. Because let's face it, if Bush was behind this, Obama would probably be able to destroy the Republican Party for the next 50 years.
Yeah.
And last night, when the congressman yelled out, "You lie," Obama would have had a great comeback. You think I'm a liar? Bush blew up the fucking World Trade Center. That's who the liar is. Boom. No one talks about anything else. He'd be done. It would be a cakewalk for him. 866-RUN-0-FEZ. 866-RUN-0-FEZ. Here is Ryan. Ryan, you're on Run and Fez.
Hey, guys. These guys, they keep coming up with this whacked-out idea that fire can't weaken or melt steel. Have they never heard of an oxyacetylene torch? I have an 11-year-old boy who could take a 6-inch bar and bend it if I heat it up enough with an oxyacetylene torch. You put that kind of fuel in a building midway up where you've got a massive air column shooting up, superheating that flame. You're weakening the steel. You're not melting it. All you have to do is get it cherry hot, and it's going to weaken, and it's going to bend, and that's when it collapses.
How many times how many times have we watched all this stuff go down with experts on the news, or Discovery Channel, and this is played out so many times, and there's just no talking to these people. There's no talking to them, and I understand too. I get it. Everybody was freaked out on 9/11. Everyone wanted to know how could something like this happen, and it makes you start thinking about the boogeyman. But the fact of the matter is, for me, the fact that you didn't hear anything from the New York Fire Department, those would have been the first guys blowing whistles. They lost too many people to sit there and go, yeah, I want to be part of the conspiracy.
And even if it was true, what was gotten out of it? The war in Iraq? I mean, what was achieved there?
Well, it's
a 5-year quagmire.
I will agree that they used that for the war in Iraq.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, there were people who used that situation to rally the troops to send and let's face it, at that time, people were so fucked up and ready to, stand behind power. We could have invaded fucking Canada. We could have probably invaded Minnesota. People were freaked up enough to go, what are we going to do about this? But the fact of the matter is just, I cannot see anything on the conspiracy stuff. Here is, let's go over here to Mark. Mark in Jersey, you're on Fez.
Yeah, Ron, I was wondering, is there a difference in your mind between the people that say, they put bombs in the World Trade Center and people who say, the Bush administration knew more and didn't act on it?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, those are totally different situations. Do I think that maybe there were letdowns in intelligence? Yeah, I'm sure that there was. And just like I don't know when we do catch people and it's not put out. You know what I mean? Do I think a bunch of people could fuck up? Yeah, I think that it happens. Do I think that power corrupts? Yeah, I'm willing to go along with that. It doesn't mean that government pulled off that fucking day without getting caught. Don't say it. Now, did they use what was happening for them? Yeah, politicians will use anything to sway things their way because they're salesmen. So immediately they were able to start pushing some stuff that benefited their point of view. That's way different than Bush attacking New York and Washington, D.C. 866-RUN-0-FEZ, 866-RUN-0-FEZ. Let's go over here to James in Detroit. James, you're on Fez.
Hey, Ronnie, this is James.
Yeah.
Hey, in the latest GQ, there was an article in regards to Putin over in Russia and how he came to power, and he apparently killed about 300 of his own citizens in apartment building bombings. They've traced it back to his administration. It was an entry to get into war with some of the states that had left, the Russia, formal Russia. And, so I think that gets you thinking that, everything happens for a reason. And
Well,
I'm more on the lines that
all right, well, hold
they
on.
let it happen.
Everything happens for a reason. The American people have never fucking sat down and looked at. The American people have never said, why are these fucking lunatics this pissed off at us? What would make some 20 fucking idiots want to kill themselves to kill other people? I'll agree that we don't take the full responsibility of shit that's happened over the last 50 years. And that's stuff that maybe our government has done overseas, or that our corporations have done overseas, or whatever the goddamn clusterfuck is with Israel and every other country that surrounds them. Obviously, they're freaked out about that. And we're not going to ever take a step back from Israel in this country. All those things are fucking true. But that does not mean that Bush fucking bombed our country. It's insane. Here is Mark in Philly. Mark.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Good.
I have 30 years in the fire service, and, what people have to realize is that firefighting's a science. It's not a game, obviously. And these people want to stir the pot and say there's a big conspiracy to go after Bush. There's documented temperatures that tell you when steel fails, aluminum, when buildings collapse. And there's reasons why these towers fell. And knowing the brotherhood of the fire service, there's no way in the world that the New York City Fire Department's going to allow its members to die in these towers and just cover it up. It's just not happening.
It was the first and really biggest part of my focus when they started the conspiracy theories is not so much would the government do this, but do those guys from the New York City Fire Department, would they come out and say anything that would say this is fucking suspicious? And I haven't seen it. And obviously we were here in New York when that happened. We've had a chance to meet and talk with so many of those guys. I know what that day means to all of them, and I know exactly that those guys had no problem turning on the mayor when they were pissed off at him a month or two later. You know, they turned around immediately and went after Giuliani when he did something they disagreed with. These guys aren't fucking guys that'll just follow along with authority. And I haven't seen any of them come out and said there's something really suspicious about this. Here is Trent. Trent in Missouri. You're on Fez.
Yeah, Nixon couldn't pull off Watergate without everyone breathing down his neck. How are we going to pull off president blowing up the World Trade Center and going after our own center of intelligence without getting caught, you know?
Yeah, it's true. And let's face it, Bush had enough political enemies that it would have benefited 1,000,000%. There's no way he would have been able to run again if there was even a hint of this. This is just the same stuff that goes on time and time again. Here's Jennifer. You're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Ron. Hey, Fez.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm actually calling in because I was in the World Trade Center when it was blown up. And as somebody who lives through that, who's just an average, your everyday, relatively vapid plebe, I can tell you that that is the single most harrowing, horrific thing that I ever lived through, and that anybody that was there or in the street or in the building ever lived through. And I feel pretty strongly that really the only people that should be reliving that or watching it are the people that are supposed to keep that from happening again.
And you're talking about people in the military.
I'm talking about the
defense.
government. I'm talking about the feds. I'm talking about anybody that can keep us safe from that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like a completely normal person. I ran for my life that day, and I saw things that no normal person should see. And, there's not a day that goes by. I still commute into New York, and there is not a day that goes by that thought in my head, doesn't flash past. Like, am I going to get caught in the subway again? Am I going to have to run for my life again? Am I going to get blown up in Penn Station? I work in Times Square. Is that going to happen because I'm over the biggest subway hub in the city? I mean, it's just something that people who lived it not people who watched it on TV.
Right.
People that lived it will never, ever forget. And any kind of glorified, moral at the end, Aesop Hollywood fable that they're going to make out of it
Right.
is never, ever going to, it's not going to, I can't see how it's going to help. And I can't see how it's going to heal anybody. And I can't see how it's going to educate anybody. It's just a topic for heated discussion, quite frankly.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. 866-313-FREE. 866-313-FREE. Here's Eileen. Eileen, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hi, I'm a teacher. I teach high school,
Yeah,
and
two radio
I
shows.
teach 11th grade, actually, which is American history.
All right, I work with Fez.
And it's frightening how many kids today base their knowledge of our country and of our history on movies.
Thank you.
And they, if I had a dime for every time I heard, like in the movie this or on The Simpsons or whatever, and these movies dramatize, and they make it a happy ending, and it's not.
Dave, who really wasn't around for the Nixon years, only gets any knowledge of all from Nixon from the Oliver Stone film. And I swear to God, he's always bringing up, how Nixon was crazy and jumping around. And I go, no, he was a pretty, the thing about him, he was like a conservative guy. Stuff was happening, but, people didn't know all that. That came out in the tapes. But they acted that, his point is Nixon's just a raving maniac.
Dave thinks Hannibal Lecter actually was president.
Well, you know what? I'd probably teach 20 kids that would agree, because they don't know their basic generic things about America in general, whether it's history, the government, whatever, and they base it on these movies.
Hollywood films, yeah. Which are just to entertain. No matter what happens, you have to remember you are basically watching a cartoon for adults. No matter how well that it's made, the whole point there is to make sure people have an experience that will have them tell their friends to come back and watch it again. Jenny, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hello?
Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Granny? My name is Jenny.
I said Jenny.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who am I speaking to?
You know what? It's too confusing for you. 866-313-FREE. 866-313-FREE. Here is Sam. Sam, you're on Ron and Fez.
Wait, so Hannibal Lecter wasn't president?
No, he wasn't.
No.
That was confusing.
I just wanted to say that, we got to be careful, though, when we throw around the term conspiracy theory and conspiracy theorist, because it seems to me that a lot of the people, who are involved, with that Loose Change documentary, they're not necessarily saying, oh, it was the Bush administration or it was Israel. All they're doing is pointing to all sorts of sort of weird discrepancies that seem to take place on 9/11.
Here's the problem with that, Sam. When you throw up a ton of them, some of them that are just silly, it makes you feel like the entire process is silly. And even though some of the things that they initially put out there, I don't believe they, have been disproven. I don't think that they made any changes. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I don't think that they're trying to go out of their way to say, look at this, and here's one specific thing. It seems like they've got 100 different theories. In a way, you're just making kind of a scary movie for people. You're kind of telling a ghost story for everybody.
Right, but think about that, right? So that means that as long as there are a lot of nuts out there offering conspiracy theorists, then that seems to suggest, according to your argument, that therefore we should never be able to point to any discrepancies, because that would just
No, just the opposite. That if you have one or two things, three, yeah, let's all sit down and discuss it. But
that's what we
give
should
me
talk
something that's really bugging you about 9/11.
Oh, well, I guess the most common one is, of course, the way the buildings fell down. There are a lot of competent physicists and engineers who say that in order to make those two buildings fall down in a perfect vertical fashion like that, you would need explosives in the building. You have to have them.
Now, hasn't that been disproved? And that they said on TV, and maybe I'm wrong about this because I don't do this kind of work, but I thought people have come up and said, no, that would be the only way that those buildings would go down from that fire, from that heat.
There are lots of experts. I mean, this is a point of contention, right? And there's a lot of people who disagree with that.
Right. But
that's the whole thing, though, is that if you actually make that argument, though, a lot of people immediately will say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a nut, and that shuts down debate and discourse. And that's
but at some point, right, Sam, you are going to have to the whole thing of the buildings felt weird. We've heard this for years. Yet you never get this from. It would have to be not only that the administration is out, but both houses, the judges, the New York Times, the Washington Post. At this point, because in the same thing, loose change, they would have people on going, oh, no one ever saw a plane hit the Pentagon. No one ever saw a plane hit the Pentagon. So they literally had to go and show film for this, which I think should be done for people just to let them say. But there were people who just started to repeat that as if it was true. And it was not true. When they went into that building, a lot of people said, yes, we saw the plane coming. So you got to be also on the other side of it, you can't just yell this stuff out just for the fun of it, for the excitement of it, or because you happen to hate the who's ever in the government at the time.
I mean, some of the things that come out of the loose change is that, the cell phone calls from people on the planes to 911 or their families, those were faked.
Right.
That the debris in Pennsylvania was not enough debris for an actual airliner to have made that crash.
Here's Marty here on Run Fez.
Ron, what's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Ron, just to hit the two statements that the guy was saying. I'm a fireman in the city.
Yeah.
Right? When those buildings collapse, you ever hear they don't make them like they used to?
Right.
They're lightweight construction buildings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lightweight truss is used, right? They'll say that jet fuel can't burn hot enough to melt steel, and they're right. All it has to do is weaken it, expand it. When steel is heated, it expands, right?
Right.
It's called a pancake collapse. The collapse started exactly where the planes hit. They say controlled demolition. It would take a year for them to set the explosives up in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
It happened right there. And as for a missile hitting the Pentagon, just think of it logically. If you're going to use two planes to hit the towers and then use a missile to hit the Pentagon,
insane.
Why not just use a plane?
And again, you're not already asking that let's just say the Bush administration is crooked. Then you're saying that the New York Police Department, the fire department, every branch of the military, it's just ridiculous. And look, I mean, basically, Clinton couldn't hide sex.
Firefighters.
Yeah.
They say that the first video of the plane hitting, there's only that one video that those French brothers made.
Yeah.
Right? They say that was staged. Right? A lot of these, right? Now, Chief Pfeiffer, he's in that. I hate to use his name. But he's in that video. His brother died in the tower. So he staged this video and allowed it. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's insane. All right, thank you, my friend.
Bye, buddy. Take care.
All right, bye. 866-313-FREE. 866-313-FREE. Here's Joe. Joe, you're on Run Fez.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Good. Listen, I'm a member of the FDNY. I really think, honestly, if Adam Sandler wants to do a movie, they want to do all these movies about everybody. He should have made the movie of, his family getting killed, maybe in an earthquake, or they were on a boat and the boat collapsed, the boat capsized, or something else. There's a lot of guys that are still affected. I'm still affected by 9/11. A lot of guys I work with have retired, completely retired, gone on medical leave, have retired from this job because they can't take the stress. And all these other movies that have been ever made, I honestly think it should be that the portions of what it costs to make the money, that's fine. Pay off everybody else. The extra money should go to the widows and orphans funds. Everybody else, instead of paying all these Hollywood fat cats their money and all these big salaries. I honestly think that there shouldn't be any movies made about this because it's too hard on a lot of people still. The fire department alone buried 343 firefighters. This is completely ridiculous doing these movies. They should just let it go and let his family be killed by an earthquake or the boat capsizing or something else. This is completely ridiculous.
Thank you so much for calling us, Joe. It is the Ron and Fez show. Talking about, Adam Sandler's got a movie coming out this weekend. And then according to the New York Post today, this website, Loose Change, which I actually went to when it was a couple of years ago that was really, really big on the internet. Now they want to make it a documentary that's released in theaters. And Charlie Sheen said that he was in talks to do the voiceover for the documentary. What did he have to say, Fez?
Yeah, he was talking about how he goes along with the fact that it could definitely be a conspiracy conspired by the government. He says, seems to me like 19 amateurs with box cutters taking over 4 commercial airliners and hitting 75% of their targets. That feels like a conspiracy theory. It raises a lot of questions.
I don't understand how. That's what I don't understand how you don't get that. Steve, you're on Run of Fez.
Hey, hi. I'm a retired detective from the NYPD bomb squad,
Yeah.
and I was there when those buildings fell. Let me tell you, there was no explosives used on that. Charlie Sheen should stick to comedy. That's what Charlie Sheen should stick to, comedy and dating prostitutes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you, Steve. Ron and Fez show talking about the Loose Change movie. Here is Mike. Mike, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
How you doing, Ron? Fez, long-time fan of you guys.
Thanks, pal.
Listen, this whole conspiracy stuff is it was just one more thing to get on President Bush about. Here's the deal. To burn a pound of steel, it takes an ounce of thermite. Okay? And they all say that, they use thermite explosives to burn through the steel and drop the towers. Now, to put that much thermite in the towers, it would take, first off, like the guy said, it would take months or years to rig the thing for explosives. Okay? Second off, in all the cleanup, they didn't find a single inch of blasting cord.
Right.
Okay? There would be, after one of these things, of course, you'd have, when they clean up demolition sites, they got to go in and clean up the blasting caps and the blasting cord, anything that didn't explode. Now, unless the thousands of cleanup workers were in on this big conspiracy, we got a problem here. They didn't.
Yeah, that is the thing. You got to know in life, no one ever gets away with keeping even a small secret. And for some reason, this would have been the biggest secret in the history of the United States.
Yeah, right.
But there's never one credible person who ever stands up. Yeah.
Yeah, how much would it be worth to hey, man, I was in on it.
Right.
Who's ever kept a secret?
That is true.
Especially today.
All right, thanks a lot, my friend. 866-313-FREE. 866-313-FREE. Here's Chris. Chris, you're on Run of Fez.
Hey, how you doing, Ron?
Yeah.
My father, years ago, he was on the Iron Workers crew, and he helped build the towers. And before he died, that's when towers fell. He was telling me and my brother, he was like, those buildings fell exactly the way it was planned. As soon as it reached a certain temperature, they were supposed to drop both of them straight down. So, the conspiracy theory about how they fell, I just think it's bull.
I thank you very much, my friend. I got to agree with you. It's not like I haven't went over and looked at this loose change thing. I remember when it first started up. Hey, Neil, you're on Run of Fez.
Hey, what's up, buddies?
Yeah.
I don't want to add any more conspiracy here, but I've flown privately and actually flew 4 years in the military.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very difficult time, a genuinely difficult time believing that they were able to hit the Pentagon. That, to me, seems almost an impossible target. And to have flown an airliner that size into a building that's essentially on the ground, it was a very small building, to have hit it like that, to me, seems almost impossible.
The fact that they had a kind of a low target to hit, because it's only, a few stories high, right?
Yeah. A few stories high, and he was able to bring it level.
But we now have seen the video, though.
No, you saw something hitting that building. You didn't. I didn't see an aircraft. I didn't see an airline hit.
There was a video that they released from the gas station across the street that had, just like their own video surveillance, that they went and showed this. And they had to do it because so many people said the same thing as you, Neil.
I didn't see it from the gas station. In fact, I thought the gas station one was still being kept private. In that case, then I'm wrong. Then in that case, we need to be very cautious of these people because they're very impressive.
Oh, that was quick, huh, Neil? Thank you very much, my friend. Greg, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
All right. Now, Ron, I hear what you're saying. I appreciate the fact that, the explanation isn't ridiculous that they give. But for one thing, did you know that one of the Bush relatives was in charge of security contract for all the buildings there? It was one of the weird Bushes. I don't remember his name. But.
Yeah. All right. So your point is that the Bush family was behind 9/11?
Well, I'm not saying that they actually had something necessarily to gain for the buildings to fall, but it's a fact that a Bush relative, now I wish I remembered his name, it's one of the more obscure Bushes, but this can be backed up by proof, that he was in charge of security contract for that building, that there was insurance taken out on that building. A new policy of insurance was taken out on building 7, I believe it was, like shortly before that. The guy had actually, I think, either that he took a policy out or he sold it. I wish I had my information in front of me.
So you're saying that your point is the Bush family made big money off 9/11. That's why it happened.
Well, they make a big money off a lot of blood money, but there's something to that, I think. There
All
might
right, thank you very much, Greg. See, that's the thing, you just got to realize that a wealthy family during Bush's thing, it just doesn't make sense no matter what you think of Bush.
Right, and he doesn't even have it as an excuse to go into the Middle East or Iraq. He's got it as an insurance scam.
Yeah, this is basically lightning. As my dad used to call it, and I'll leave it at that. Gary, you're on Run and Fez.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
There's a better movie than Loose Change. It's called 9/11 in Plain Sight and Hijacking Catastrophe, and they show clearly exactly the motives for this administration, the Rumsfeld, the Cheneys, exactly their intentions for doing this. There's also a book called The New Pearl Harbor by David Ray Griffin, who's a reverend that looked into the whole thing. And, okay, the first thing is the plane hitting the Pentagon. After that happened, they showed clearly that building burning for like an hour. There was no plane wreckage at all on the front lawn, and the roof of where it collapsed didn't collapse for like an hour, and there was only a 16-foot hole that went punched through the thing. Now, that's just, you've got to say, that's really weird because you have all the footage. And Building 7 collapsed perfectly.
So how did it happen, Gary?
You know what, dude? That's it. We don't know. But there are questions, and
kind of feel like we do
we're
know.
all confused by all the other conspiracy stuff that might sound nutty. There is some definite truth to
it's wading through this stuff. When we get into every single thing like that, where you think that you would be able to bomb the Pentagon, where you've got the biggest military minds in the country, those would be the people that would be behind the bombing of and that's what they would pick for themselves, their building, taking out their people. It really doesn't make sense at all. Mike, you're on Fez.
Yes, I'd like to just say I know for a fact that they took all the bomb-sniffing dogs and everything else out of the World Trade Center and around the area for at least a month before 9/11.
So that means what? There were bombs in there?
Exactly.
You just heard from the fire department. Regular guys who worked there who said there's no way they would keep quiet about this. There is no way these guys who lost their friends would sit here and be quiet about it. But because you heard a rumor that they took a dog out of a building?
Not a rumor.
Yeah.
I work for, I don't want to say where, but I know for a fact all the bomb-sniffing dogs and people, even security, was evacuated from the building around late
So no
July.
security guards died in those buildings?
Exactly, because they knew what was up.
It's not true.
See, you couldn't even
It's not true.
You couldn't even do that much without somebody saying, "Hey, where have all the dogs been for a month?" You couldn't get away with that much of it.
But here's the thing, Fez, and I have no idea about the dogs, but just because you take the dogs out of a building would not mean that a bomb went off there later. You're just making one leap to the next one. You're not thinking properly. Lenny, you're on Run and Fez.
Hello?
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Good. Is this Ron?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Ron, it's Lenny. How are you? Listen, I'm listening to the show where people are talking about these conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense because if you think people are saying that we planned September 11th, what about all the other things happened when Clinton was in office, like the USS Cole getting attacked, the U.S. Embassy, all these other events that led up?
Right.
The 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center that led up to what September 11th. People were in denial. Those were attacks on the United States. We just let that stuff go under the rug because the economy was doing so well. Finally, people wound up waking up because it happened in New York, in the United States. All that other stuff, those were events that happened.
Thank you, my friend. We'll take one more call here. Hey, Steve. Steve, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Ron. Hey, Fez.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a documentary that came out by the BBC. It's on Google now. It's called 911: The Conspiracy File, and they completely debunk everything in Loose Change.
And no matter how many times these things are debunked, though, these guys want to go back to believing time and time again. All right, we'll be right back. It's the Ron and Fez Show.
Ronnie B. Fez W. The Ron and Fez Show.